Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. How are you? It's good to see a full Musalla, mashallah. So many people tonight, mashallah. We just have a few announcements before tonight's Khaatir. Please pass the boxes. This Ramadan, multiply your sadaqah up to 700-fold. Give today using the boxes for cash. Scan the QR codes for our website and Venmo, or visit the office manager's table. Starting tomorrow, Isha will change to 9 p.m. So just wanted to update you guys on this. Please keep that in mind for tomorrow, inshallah. Community iftars. We hold community iftar in Roseville, Natomas, and Elk Grove every Friday. So if you have time, please consider coming out to join us for those. Sponsor an iftar/suhoor. We have a few spots remaining and need your help to fully sponsor our iftars and suhoors this year. Please check in with the office manager's table. Partial sponsorships are welcome. This year's Zakat al-Fitr is $20 per person. Zakat al-Mal can be calculated on our Zakat page on our website using our Zakat calculator. The TGB Ramadan feed is this coming Saturday, the 23rd at 10 a.m. in Roseville. Come prepare hot meals for those in need. You can sponsor meals by scanning the QR code on the flyer and supporting the effort in this blessed month. Brother Ahmed Bajwa is here tonight tabling after Tarawih. Please see him on your way out and he can answer any of your questions. Sunnah Club. We have our Sunnah Club available for child care ages 3 to 9. Children must be potty trained. If you have any children that you would like to take to child care, that's in our Sunday school area. So you just go through the hallway, straight down that hallway to our Sunday school area, and you will be able to find that. Our second youth qiyam is tomorrow at Tarbiya House, Elk Grove. We will begin at 11 p.m. The age range is 13 to 23. Join us for a night of tahajjud, bonfires, trivia, individual ibadah time, and more. Our second Sisters qiyam is this Saturday night at 11 p.m. in Natomas. Please bring finger food to share and sign up to volunteer for the night. Please see Office Manager Sister Shiza to sign up. Our second Brothers qiyam will be held Saturday starting at 11 p.m. here in Roseville, inshallah. Join us for post-Tarawih basketball night featuring 3 full-size courts. Come showcase your skills, compete, and connect with some brothers. There will be a brief Khaatir with Imam Aziz that will inspire us this Ramadan. Please register today for the premier Ramadan basketball event, which is Friday, March 22nd at 10:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. This event is 18 and up. Tarbiya is proud to host its first ever Quran competition. Do you have a beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran? This is your chance to showcase your talent and compete for exciting prizes. The competition is open to both boys and girls of all ages. It will be held at THR on April 7th from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Surahs and levels have been released on social media and our website. We are currently looking for sponsors for our prizes. For more information, please see our office manager. That's it for tonight's announcements. I will pass it off to Brother Yusuf to begin tonight's Khaatir.
Tomorrow, what's Imam? We're going to start Isha at 9 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah. No, it's just 22nd on the record.
No, how do you next to me? I said the 23rd.
Our Ramadan publication says 22nd.
And I'm so sorry, one last announcement. If you are sick, please try to stay at home. I've noticed that there's a lot of people getting sick lately, and so in order to avoid spreading that to our fellow brothers and sisters, please do try to remain at home if possible, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, I need to use that. No, give me that. No. Just with the stand.
Assalamu alaikum. Man, twice in 1 week. Alhamdulillah. What did I do to deserve this? Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Seamus, for the announcements. You know, as we know, a healthy community is an informed community. Sometimes it may feel like the announcements may be redundant. However, sometimes we have people joining us that weren't here the day before, and there are slight details that change from night to night. And if there is any, inshallah, it's beneficial for all of us to hear them. In order for us to continue to thrive and flourish, mashallah, look at the amount of faces we have here. And there's always a few different people coming every single night. So, barakallahu feekum for your patience. Imam Aziz wanted me to give you a quick update on the seed fund here in Roseville. And he says that by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we've exceeded $150,000. Takbir. 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 You know, we have some a ways to go still, but alhamdulillah, this is a sign, that our community is still vested in itself. I know that we have been diverting a lot of our resources to issues overseas in Pakistan as well as Palestine. Obviously, they need our support, but we need to make sure that we're also ensuring that our local institution, our local masajid are thriving, because without them, we limit our ability to help and connect with these other organizations that do this meaningful work overseas. And so, I appreciate you for that. We need to push a little bit harder to reach our goal. But I'm counting on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and all of you, inshallah, to make that happen. You've never, let us down. And this is an investment in your own future and your own children's future. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to bless us, inshallah wa ta'ala. Allahumma ameen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Jazakallah khair. I know that the Imam probably makes these announcements more regularly. I'm not here usually. But if you have to have or carry on a side conversation, please, remove yourself from the hall, because no matter what you think, no matter how quiet you think you are, we can hear you. I can hear you. Even, mashallah, the sisters that are shushing people, I can hear that clearly, like as if you're sitting here in the front row. And so if you have children, feel free. Like, we love to have the children here at the masjid if they're able to sit and be quiet. If not, we have, we go through a tremendous amount of effort to ensure that there is a space for them so they feel welcome, and that is the Sunnah Club. So if you have any questions about that, you can find one of the staff members and they can guide you to where you need to be. Jazakumullah khairan. Imam ibn-ul-Jawzi, he says, of all the obligations, he says, ليس في التكليف أصعب من الصبر على القضاء. Nothing is more difficult than patience with Allah's decree. Patience in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ولا فيه أفضل من الرضا به. And nothing is better than contentment within that decree. Subhanallah. Those of us who experience trauma or traumatic experiences, we've been subjected to severe trials, right? As human beings, we're all, receivers of that, in one way, shape, or form. It's just to varying degrees. And when we face those severe trials, we know all too well how difficult it is, to wake up one morning and realize that your entire world has been turned upside down. And these are like major, calamities that afflict us. We know how excruciating it is to exercise sabr, particularly in those moments, and to feel content. On top of that, it seems, nearly impossible. If you're really in the thick of it, right? If you've been afflicted by something like that. How can you, after one of your beloved grandparents passed away, hold it together? And within that difficult time of grief, show gratitude and have sabr. It's impossible. Or another important family member passes away, or a friend, or a sibling, or, God forbid you have a divorce, or you lose your job, or you lose your house. Those are the moments that really test us, brothers and sisters. And it's difficult for us to follow the advice of Imam ibn-ul-Jawzi to have contentment in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree, and at the same time be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those circumstances and focus on the positives. Ibn al-Qayyim, he says, Rida sukunul qalbi bimujrayat al-ahkam. He says that Rida, contentment, is tranquility of the heart no matter the circumstances. Which one of us in this room who have been afflicted by such calamity are able to, number one, be content, right? And number two, be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during those moments. It's very difficult. It feels so much like an impossible feat, to look past your grief and your anxiety in those moments. But this is why the reward of that is so heavy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For that patient that's unmatched, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the reward is not a light reward. It's not an easy reward. It comes at a very difficult cost. What feels like everything in this dunya. But what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He said, only those who endure patiently will be given their reward بِغَيْرِ حِسَاب, without limit. Without any count, there's no way to count it. The immeasurable reward. Isn't that like a sign of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that like He tells you to be content, He tells you, to be grateful, and what's your reward? It's something that you can't even imagine. It's immeasurable. And what an appropriate, psychological promise that has to be in order for you to feel like some sort of tranquility, right? It's the only thing that will make you feel like it's worth it. Sabr and Rida become particularly difficult when the believer witnesses non-believers and the unrighteous enjoying, number one, the fruits of the dunya. And we see this every single day. Number two, indulging freely in their lusts. They source income immorally without hesitation or question. They don't ask themselves, is this halal? Is this haram? Is people going to be hurt by this? Do I care what the ramifications of this particular business are, or the ramifications that money will have on me and my family? They're after fame and fortune, and they'll do God knows what to get there. And we, through history, we've known the type of treacherous things that have to happen in order in this country, the Me Too movement and all those things. What people give in order to get that fame. They sell their souls, basically. They give no heed to morals or principles, much like, the Israelis today, the Israeli government in particular. While the righteous are suffering from poverty and injustice and or severe trials, you can probably say all of the above. Our brothers and sisters in Sudan and Pakistan and Palestine, they're going through this. It's not just, Palestine that's suffering right now. The heart can't help but feel confusion and disillusionment at these times. How much contentment can we have when the calamities seem to be ceaseless? But the Quran provides us guidance for both, brothers and sisters. As for the unrighteous enjoying their lives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about them, as the Shaykh mentioned, he recited this from Surah Isra. He says, وَإِذَا أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلِكَ قَرْيَةً أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَفِيهَا. Whenever we intend to destroy a society, whenever we intend to destroy a nation, we command its elite to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they act rebellious in it. Why? Why is the elite the target? Because the elite are the ones that dictate how the rest of that society will operate. The elite are the ones that either will uphold the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or remove them and replace them with their own laws and imprison all of the people that speak out against them. And isn't that what's happening today in the world? You know, our Muslim countries and all over the Middle East and in the East, for the most part, many of them are sellouts and they're da'if. Why? There's many Muslims there, but their leaders are corrupt. And because their leadership is corrupt, their entire country is going to remain in that state of corruption. So the decree of punishment, Allah continues in the ayah, so the decree of punishment is justified and we destroy it utterly. Whatever power they may seem to have now, whatever short-sighted victory that they seem to have now, it's just a matter of time. The pendulum always swings, brothers and sisters. And the balance will be restored. And as for the righteous that are suffering, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about them? He says, do you think you will enter paradise without Allah proving which of you truly struggled for His cause and patiently endured? In other words, do you think that you will enter paradise without knowing who struggled and who didn't? Who actually made those sacrifices and who didn't? The individuals that really strive and push themselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them the highest of the abode. Jannat al-Firdaus, al-Firdaus al-A'la. We know that there's 7 layers to heaven, right? So, I mean, honestly, if you ask me, getting into any of them is fine. Get into one of them, khalas, it's the levels at this point, I'm more concerned about just getting in. If I have a choice of the levels, then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses those who struggle with, not only do you get into Jannah, you get the cream of the crop. You get to go to the highest of the highest levels. You get to be with the Anbiya. You get to be with Al-Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You get to see Arsh al-Azim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who see His Arsh. Allahumma ameen. If your heart is full of love and trust, brothers and sisters, for Allah, and the evidence for the wisdom of the one who decrees has been established, and who is the one that decrees? Allah. Then there will be trust in the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He issues. Period. If you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the one that makes the decree in the first place, then you will trust whatever the decree is, period. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, you understand that there's wisdom in it and it's beyond you and you don't need to understand it because after all, the world doesn't revolve around us, right? And our ability to comprehend the heavens and the creator of the heavens and the earth making a decision. We can't even do, long division in our head. In that same brain that struggles in doing long division, we want to try to encapsulate and understand the creation of heavens and earth and the creator and why He does what He does. Brothers, this is this is like capital punishment worthy, right? If you are righteous, then you have the akhirah. If you're righteous, then you have the akhirah. And that's the entire goal of this life. The whole purpose of our existence and our creation, knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, becoming Muslim, is for us to get to Jannah. At least it should be. Through the distraction, through the responsibilities, through the financial difficulties, through the struggles, personal and social and communal, our goal should be collectively to go to Jannah, right? Am I out of line for making that statement? I don't think so. Dunya is like, the cherry on top. If you secure your akhirah, imagine the akhirah is like it's a simple, example, but a hot fudge sundae. We're fasting, I missed my hot fudge sundaes. Alhamdulillah, I haven't had one since Ramadan began. But, imagine the akhirah as the hot fudge sundae. The dunya is just the cherry that gets put on the top. Right? What you see as an abundance in the hands of the unrighteous is essentially a form of deprivation. So what you see in the hands of these corrupt leaders, the dunya, it seems like it's everything. This is just the cherry. And it's a form of deprivation because they're satiating their nafs now in the temporary abode, but they are completely writing off the akhirah, which is the hot fudge sundae. Come on, man. What are you doing? Ibn-ul-Jawzi says, imagine that the believer in this dunya is like a contractor. And he uses this specifically. And how relevant is that today? How many of you have dealt with a contractor lately? They're tough, man. In this economy, they're very difficult. But Ibn-ul-Jawzi, he says that imagine the believer in this dunya is like a contractor. Someone that's doing contract work for you, paint, plumbing, construction, you name it. He has specific hours to work every single day to earn his payment. He wears those, the clothes that you wear when you do construction, the ones that you don't worry about getting paint on, and the ones you don't worry about tearing, they're workwear, right? It wouldn't make sense for him to slack on that particular job. As a contractor, your income is based on your effort and your turnover, doing a good job, and moving on to the next one, right? It's not the job that you take extra long lunches and you wear fancy clothes too, and I don't want to touch this and get dirty, right? That's not the job. You wouldn't receive your payment. Maybe it would appear like you're having a good time, right? But they, get no prize in the end, and they waste their days away. Utterly wasted, right? Ibn-ul-Jawzi says, whoever desires the harvest of the hereafter, man kana yuridu harth al-akhirah, nuzid lahu fi harthihi, we will increase their harvest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, forgive me. Whoever desires the harvest of the hereafter, we will increase their harvest. And the scholars actually commentate on this, and they say that the harvest that's being referred to here of the akhirah actually gives you the akhirah and the dunya. So whoever desires the harvest of the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only increases you in that harvest, but gives you the dunya as well. وَمَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ حَرْثَ الدُّنْيَا, and whoever desires only the harvest of this world, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them nothing? Does He deprive them? If we are Muslims and we want the akhirah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us that and more. And some of the thing that maybe is not so good for us, the dunya. But if we want only the akhirah or only the dunya, does He say, no, I'm not going to give that to you? Right? Parents here, when they don't want their kids to have candy, they say no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say, I'm not going to give it to you. He says, نُؤْتِيهِ مِنْهَا, we will give them some of it still. We will give them some of it. وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِن نَصِيبٍ, but they will have no share in the hereafter. They will have nothing. So if you're after the akhirah, you get both. Isn't that like amazing? And then if you're after the dunya, you get the dunya, maybe, not even a promise there, but you get none of the akhirah. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His protection. Besides, if the shahada, right, is the highest level of honor bestowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shouldn't there be a force of evil to take that believer's life? Who's going to make you a shaheed? Another righteous Muslim? In order to balance the equation out, there has to be somebody who's inherently evil that's going to make somebody a shaheed, which is the highest level of honor in Islam. It's simple math. It has to, the equation is balanced this way. Do we like it? I mean, no, right? From face value, from us sitting here, it doesn't sound really appealing. But if you're a shaheed, and you're in Jannah, and you're able to see what we're doing here, you're like, man, I'm happy that whoever so-and-so was there that took me out, right? In order to make Umar radiallahu anhu a shaheed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Abu Lu'lu al-Majusi. In order to make Ali radiallahu anhu a shaheed, he created people like Abdurrahman ibn Muljib. Only an unrighteous person could have killed Yahya. What you need to see in the midst of trials, brothers and sisters, and in order to have sabr and rida, is not the means. Rather, it is the one who causes the means, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is how you can see Allah in the good and in the bad that happens, or the bad that happens. Because you know that had to exist to balance out the equation. You don't see qadr. Rather, you see al-muqaddir, the one who bestows qadr, the one who is the executor of qadr. You know, in this dunya, suffering doesn't always mean failure. And prosperity does not always mean success either. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us those who have sabr and rida. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the ailments in our heart that prevent us from seeing His wisdom. Allahumma ameen. Brothers and sisters, قولي قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وقوموا إلى صلاتكم ورحمكم الله.